Hey, fellowship group leaders. Thanks so much for checking out this video. I'm so excited to introduce you to the new City Catechism. As many of you already know, our journey for 2021 in Fellowship Denver during our teaching time and hopefully in many of our fellowship groups, we'll be going through the new City Catechism. Now, why are we doing that? Well, as what Hunter mentioned in his sermon to begin the year, was one of the ways that we can respond to this past year and respond to a lot of the disruption that all of us have experienced. A key way that the church responds to situations like that is not through innovation, it's not through doing new things, but it's actually through going back to old wells. It's actually going back to ways to connect with God that God's people have always done in the past and that's always worked. And so we talked about that to begin the year. And one of the ways we want to do that this year is to teach through a catechism. Now, this is something that fellowship we've never done before. And if some of you come from high church traditions, a catechism is something that you have done before, and it sounds normal. It's certainly not normal to me. I came from a low church tradition, and catechisms were, that's just something that like Catholics would do or whatever. It just was so foreign. It was so foreign to me growing up. And it's something I've actually never done. So I'm personally going on this journey with you. And especially if you've never done anything like this, I'm going to be on this journey learning alongside you. But a catechism is something that the church has done throughout its history to train and to develop disciples of Jesus. It's simply a question and answer format that teaches you the depth and beauty of the gospel of Jesus. So, three different things to think about as we get into the new City Catechism. First of all, it's called the New City Catechism, but it's really based on three different older Reformation era catechisms: the Heidelberg Catechism and the larger and shorter Westminster Catechism. And it's updated in language, but it's not updated in theology. It's actually rooted in and derives from all of these historical catechisms. There are 52 question and answers in the New City Catechism. As a church, we're probably going to, through this year, get into almost all of them, but not quite all of them. But so we might, in the middle of the year, actually merge a couple of questions into one. So just kind of heads up on that. But what is the value of doing a catechism and going through this as a church? Number one is this, that a catechism actually teaches you the truths, the deep truths of the gospel. And it does it in this systematic way that helps you really understand the depth and some of the complexity of the gospel itself. That's one. Two, a catechism teaches you those deep truths of the gospel in a way that helps to outflank and to highlight and to show aberrant teachings of the gospel in obvious ways. So it actually addresses wrong or misinformed ways people explain or understand the gospel. And it shows them for what they are, and it helps to protect us from aberrant or heretical teachings of Jesus. So catechism gives us a way in which we can understand the gospel in a deep way, and highlights the depth of the gospel in a way that protects us against aberrant heretical teachings about Jesus. Third is this, is that a catechism, when you do it together as a community, which is what we're encouraging all of us to do, when we do it together as a community, it actually works to develop us as God's people as a true counterculture in society. it helps us to actually understand and to appreciate that God has called us to be different, distinct, salt and light in this world, and we get to do it together. So it really develops us as disciples together, as the church together, unified together in our theology of Jesus and on our mission to express and highlight the love of Christ to our city. So that's what we hope that what will happen is that we understand, appreciate the depth of the gospel. We do it in a way that helps protect us against aberrant teachings of Christianity. And thirdly, we all are doing this together so that together we can become a counterculture and be a real force for Jesus in the city for the good of the city. So that's the why. Now, how are we going to do this? Well, we've already said that on Sundays, with the exception of just a couple of Sundays, we are going to systematically go through the New City Catechism, go through the question and the answer, and really exposit the scriptural sort of source of the question and answer as well. We're going to do that in our teaching. And here's what's relevant, especially for you as fellowship group leaders, every Sunday, starting from the first Sunday in February, we are going to write a discipleship tool based on the New City Catechism question of the week, and we are going to write them every week until we're done with the series. So we're going to write them all the way through to the end of November. We're not going to take the summer off in writing those D-tools, so you know that every week there's going to be a D-tool available for you that's going to give you a way to kind of unpack the truth, the value of the particular question that we're going to be dealing with in the catechism. So that's our promise to you, and that's something that we're going to do on our end to provide that for you. Another thing to just to encourage you with, part of the value and part of the power of a catechism is that it is designed for memorization. So I will just kind of challenge you to not just understand and be conversant of the question and answers, but part of the challenge of it and the transformative component of it is to memorize them. And I've heard of a couple of families already that after dinner, they're having the question and the answer, and they're taking it a week at a time, so there's 6-7 days in which they're, as a family, they're actually dealing with that question and answer, and they're trying to memorize it. And there's tons of different ways you can go about trying to memorize it. But I just want to throw that out there to you as a challenge, and part of the transformative sort of benefit of a catechism is that you actually do memorize it. It becomes sort of second nature to you. So that's what's on the docket for this year, and I'm super excited to have our fellowship groups really grapple with the New City Catechism and be transformed by the truth of the gospel that it helps to explain. So I'm super excited for it. If you have questions at all about the catechism or any of the ways in which we're going to try and support you, please don't hesitate to reach out to me or Leah, Dave at fellowshipdenver.org, Leah at fellowshipdenver.org. All right, love you guys.